Welcome, folks, to our discussion on the big picture involving Putin and NATO, where tension and war talk meet strategy. It's really a high stakes chess game going on right now.
I'm really excited to jump in here, especially with all the geopolitical antics happening. What stands out to you in this analysis?
Well, starting off, there's Colin Doug Macgregor's take that both sides uh, essentially want war, even though they claim it's all
That's a
about
bold claim.
deterrence. He digs into how Putin's new domestic mobilization, the People's Front, is less about unity and more like a full scale preparation for a war scenario.
Right, so on one hand, you have this mobilization, painted as if it's a call for national solidarity, but underneath, it's really gearing up for something much more aggressive, isn't it?
Exactly. And it's interesting because many Russians in his inner circle are actually fed up with the prolonged Ukraine conflict. They believe that a total mobilization might finally shut it down decisively.
Yeah, that definitely adds a twist. And then there's the part about sanctions. McGregor argues that Russia's economy has seemingly adapted pretty well to the pressure from sanctions, which contrasts with the typical narrative of economic collapse.
Right. It's like they weren't as broken as everyone expected, and their losses in Ukraine are portrayed as relatively low compared to what Ukraine has suffered. Catastrophic, as he puts it.
Yeah, but don't you think that comparison might oversimplify some actual human costs and broader impacts? I agree, it's a pretty aggressive take. The whole discussion feels like it's designed to shake up what we expect from military strategies and alliances.
Absolutely. And then, oh man, the strategic complications in the South Caucasus really jump out. Azerbaijan, who used to be a close Russian ally, is now aligning with Israel, Turkey, and the US. It's almost like shifting allegiances are rewriting the map.
That's crazy. Plus, the rumor that Azerbaijan might be preparing to invade northwestern Iran? That could trigger ethnic unrest among Azeris in Iran and really throw a regional powder keg into motion?
Exactly, it's like a domino effect waiting to happen. Each shift in alliance seems to make the whole region even more unstable. And not to mention, Azerbaijan is reportedly hosting Western intelligence operations targeting Iran, which adds yet another layer to the drama.
Yeah, it's like layers of an onion, each one revealing more complications. What do you make of Turkey's role here, especially with Erdogan pursuing ambitions in Syria and Lebanon?
Oh, that's a fascinating part. Turkey's ambitions are definitely complex. While sometimes cooperating with Israel, they're also charting a course that diverges, particularly in Syria and Lebanon. That divergence, in a way, illustrates a broader trend. Even traditional allies are like rethinking their positions in this volatile environment.
Absolutely. So, while Russia is focused on Ukraine, it seems like they've lost control over their southern flank, which now includes Turkey and even touches on Iran and Israel.
Right, it's a shifting landscape. McGregor suggests that this loss of control could be why Moscow is in such a hurry to end the Ukraine conflict, to reassert its broader strategic reach in the region. It's almost as if the urgency is not just about Ukraine, but about maintaining a geopolitical foothold across multiple fronts.
Yeah, that urgency really changes the stakes. Now, I have to say, while the strategic overview is compelling, I do wonder if there's a bit of an overemphasis on the inevitability of conflict. Isn't it possible that both sides are still genuinely pursuing deterrence over outright war?
That's a fair challenge, and I think McGregor's commentary is more provocatively framing possibilities rather than stating certainties. He pushes for a view that, like, both players are setting the stage, in a way inviting confrontation even while claiming deterrence.
I see your point. It's like saying we're building a fire exit just in case, but we could also be building a furnace, right?
Haha, that's a vivid analogy. Yeah, exactly. It's like, on the surface, efforts for safety and deterrence, yet underneath, every move seems to escalate tensions ever so subtly. And when you add in the reshuffling alliances, like Azerbaijan's new posture and Turkey's ambitions, it certainly creates a climate where escalation seems more plausible.
Yeah, it's like walking on a tightrope. Speaking of tightropes, what do you think is the takeaway about Russia playing the sanctions game so well?
Well, it's intriguing because it suggests that Russia may have, over time, developed mechanisms to cushion the economic blow. This resilience might embolden their strategic moves, making the cost of confrontation feel less burdensome to them.
That's true. But doesn't that also risk overconfidence? I mean, if sanctions are absorbed more easily than predicted, might that not push a country into more extreme action, thinking, we can handle this economically?
That's a sharp observation. There's always a risk that economic resilience becomes a double edged sword, providing the confidence to take riskier steps. And in the chess game of international politics, that kind of boldness, or dare I say recklessness, can change the equilibrium pretty drastically.
Yeah, I get that. It really highlights the complexity, doesn't it? A nation adapting to sanctions while simultaneously maneuvering for regional dominance makes every move a high-stakes gamble.
Precisely. And on top of that, the broader picture shows that these regional conflicts are interconnected. For instance, if Azerbaijan does stir up trouble in Iran, it might trigger a new regional war that drags in multiple players like Israel, Turkey, and even the US. It's a classic case of unintended consequences.
Absolutely. And that in turn feeds back into the overall instability that both Russia and NATO are navigating. The more pieces get moved, the less predictable the board becomes.
Right. It's kind of like a domino or even a Rube Goldberg machine. Every small shift sets off a series of reactions. And when you have leaders making these high-risk maneuvers, it really raises questions about overall strategic foresight.
Yeah, that's a pretty neat image. Given all these intricate dynamics, can we really trust that deterrence will hold? Or are we looking at a scenario where conflict becomes inevitable?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? On one hand, both sides maintain that they're not looking for war. They say it's about preventing conflict. But the elaborate, almost theatrical mobilizations and shifts in alliances create an environment where escalation seems all too likely.
I get it. And speaking of theatrical, the whole idea of portraying mobilization as a unified national movement while, deep down, prepping for war, that's a narrative that could stir up domestic sentiments pretty quickly.
Sure, it's almost like a show meant to inspire nationalistic fervor, even if it masks the true intent of total war readiness. It's a carefully constructed image that serves multiple purposes, both internal and external.
Yeah, that dual purpose is key here. It makes me wonder how much of these maneuvers are strategic misdirection versus genuine shifts in policy. Surely both sides might be bluffing to a degree.
I think you're onto something there. There's likely a heavy dose of strategic theater in all of this. The emphasis on deterrence can sometimes be a smokescreen for underlying ambitions to change the strategic balance, especially when regional instabilities pile on.
Exactly. It's a deep rabbit hole, isn't it? With each new alliance or conflict hotspot, the mix of military strategy, economic resilience, and domestic politics gets more tangled.
For sure. And while it might be tempting to see this as a simple about to erupt scenario, the reality is far more nuanced. Every move, from sanctions to mobilizations to alliance shifts, interacts in unpredictable ways.
It's like every factor feeds into the larger narrative. And that unpredictability is what makes the strategic forecasting here so challenging, isn't it? Years of conflict in one region can suddenly pivot because of these seemingly minor shifts in alliances.
Absolutely. It underscores that in international politics, the unintended consequences often drive the most significant changes. It's a delicate balance between signaling strength and risking an all-out war.
Yeah, that's the high wire act all leaders are dealing with. So, to wrap it up, while deterrence is the official line, the reality seems to be a mix of calculated mobilizations, shifting alliances, and frankly, a risky dance that could spiral into conflict.
Exactly. It's like a high-stakes game of chess where every move counts, and even a small, misinterpreted step could tip the balance. The conversation around Putin, NATO, and the maneuvers in regions like the South Caucasus really remind us that international politics is anything but simple.
Absolutely. Thanks for that deep dive. It seems like we'll be watching these developments with much closer attention in the coming days.
Definitely. And folks, stay tuned. When these pieces move, everyone's in for one wild ride.